members of the Arana Nation, patriots, far and wide, whether you are in Canada or here in the United States of America, where I am currently right now on vacation, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Australia, wherever you happen to be, Africa, wherever, hear me and hear me good, because something very big is going to happen here. And when you have politicians here in the United States, like that one there, who I think they need to bring some breathalyzer to her, or do some drug test on her, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or Bill Nye the Science Guy, who is now turned to abusing members of the millennial community, talking about, verbally abusing them, talking about how, the world is on effing fire, and I taught you photosynthesis, and, now you all are adults and everything. When you hear people talking like this, that there is only going to be 11 years for this planet to exist if we don't do something on climate change, then something big is going to happen. Now, before I go any further, let me say that I am a big advocate for taking care of our planet, for taking care of our earth, for taking care of our human beings, for preserving our trees and our greenery and replanting them, and all this sort of thing. But I'm not in favor of the government using an issue like climate change to enrich itself and to enslave us more and to take more of our beautiful private property already here in the United States. And I've talked to many Americans. They have said that, more and more of our private land is being taken by the government. It's being used as so-called environmental zones. You already have the green belt and all this sort of thing in Canada, and they're just using it as a ploy to take more of our land. More power for the government, less for the people. And now we have the carbon tax in Canada, and you've got some extremists on the left who are talking about putting something like that in this country. Fortunately, Donald Trump has been a resistance of this type of power control, and he has taken the United States out of Paris and all these other extremist things. But it's happening. And one way it's happening is take a look at some of the lies that have been told in the past, and then I will tell you some of the things that they are trying to tell us now and what they are doing about it and what could end up happening to us. First, they said something about global cooling back in the 70s, and they said that this whole planet was going to freeze over if we don't do something. There's going to be another ice age. Then they said global warming, and that didn't work either. Even now, I'm out here, I'm in the beautiful western New York here, and it's almost June, and even now I have to wear this jumper here because it's a bit nippy out here, it's a bit windy. And, it's nice out, it's spring, but still. So that didn't work. Al Gore said the ice caps would all melt in Antarctica, and they haven't melted yet. But now we're here, and they're saying that this Earth only has 11 years. Alexandria Ocasio is saying that. The United Nations is saying that. The British Parliament has already imposed a so-called climate emergency. Now, I don't know what climate emergency is. Can somebody please assist me with this? I don't know what this thing is here now. And that can only mean one thing. They're going to try even more to take more of our money, to take more of our land, and to take more of our freedom, and using this as a ploy to get more power. Just like the United States back in 2001 used Osama bin Laden and World Trade Center as a way to get more freedom for the government. Just like George Bush, Dick Cheney, Rumsfeld, Paul Wolfowitz, all these neocon Zionistic individuals on the right what they did when Bin Laden tore down the towers, even though I'm still not convinced that that's the whole story. I'm still not convinced. But regardless, they used that incident to get more power. The left, and even people on the right, like look at the United Kingdom. It's a conservative minority government, and they're doing this thing here now. Even people on the right and the left, the globalists, the Zionists, the New World Order people, the control freaks, they're using this issue to take more of our freedom. And that's what the government is doing. And we need to start fighting back here. That's why, you see me here with this cord here. It is representing me as your fighter, as your commander-in-chief of Arana Nation. I'm here to lead the troops in battle. We're going to have to go to battle soon. It's not going to be any time. It's going to be very shortly now that the government is going to try and really hit back on us. When they start putting timetables, 11 years, this is what I think is going to happen. This is what I think is going to happen. First of all, they want to have a climate emergency. And Canada's might be doing the same thing. You've already heard Justin Ataki and Mac Daddy talking the same thing here now. Other countries have done it, and now Canada's about to do it. What I think is going to happen is that they are really going to start taxing everything. They're going to rake up the tax on gas, public transit, vehicles. They're probably even going to start putting tolls on every single freeway in the Western world. You're going to have to pay for it. It's a public road. You already pay for it in taxes. You're going to pay for it again. They want to limit our transportation. They want to do all this sort of stuff here. And if we don't comply here, because you see what's happening in the world, government after government after government is falling, and they're electing nationalists. You saw what happened in Australia. The radical green, I shouldn't even say green. They don't care about the environment. These guys couldn't care less. They want control. They don't care about these trees behind me here in Western New York, near the Adirondacks. They don't care about our nature. They don't care about our way of life. As long as they get their power, we can all die for all they care. Just like they don't care about our safety. They just want power, Patriot Act, and all this sort of stuff here. So that's what's going to end up happening. And if we don't comply, because you saw what happened in Australia, that radical leftist Bill Shorten, who wanted to get rid of coal, get rid of all the fossil fuels, he was thrown out like a dog. He wasn't thrown out, he wasn't there to begin with, but he was voted out. The polls said he would win, and the Australian people gave him a big surprise. And these people are saying this has got to stop here. We're losing control. So if they're not going to cooperate with us, this is what the globalists are saying. If they're not going to cooperate with us, then I think that what's going to end up happening is that this whole chemtrail thing and weather manipulation, because let me tell you something, make no mistake, and China does this all the time. They have the technological ability to control the weather. Look up weather manipulation. Go on Google now and Google weather manipulation. They can do things to the clouds. They can create rain. They can do all sorts of things. And I'm here to say that they could very easily create huge thunderstorms, heat waves, do all sorts of stuff to make the people fear and afraid that the weather's dying in 11 years. When they start putting out timelines, 11 years, then you know that's what's going to end up happening here. Many people say that the World Trade Center and the Pentagon were things that were caused by the U.S. government. They convinced the Arabs and all this stuff. They gave them the tools, the equipment, and all this sort of stuff to fly planes into the building, Pentagon, all this sort of stuff. That's exactly what people say. Now this could be another type of 9/11, where the government is going to have weather manipulation, which is a factual thing that happens during when the Chinese want to do parades in Beijing. They do things to the weather to make it a sunny, nice day, so there's no rain and everything. Same thing. When there's not enough rain out in the Midwest, they do things to the clouds so that it can rain. It is a fact. It happens all the time. In fact, the United States and Canada have actually made deals with the United Nations to coordinate things like this. And that's what, when you see timelines, 11 years, they could very, or even earlier, they could very well do things to the weather to manipulate it, to make us afraid because we're not cooperating. And then once we're afraid, my patriots, fighters, once we're afraid, then we start voting for their control, cooperating with them, just like the imbecilic and gullible Americans back in 2001, 2, and 3 voted with George Bush to get the Patriot Act and to go into Iraq, and what they look like they want to go to Iran and everything, but now people are waking up to the war thing. But not a lot of people have woken up to the whole climate thing, and that is what they're going to have us do now. So I'm saying, for anybody who works for the government, hear what I have to say. For anyone who's neutral enough and fair enough, who wants to expose what's going on, if you want to be an inside, secret, anonymous mole, do so. But you have to inform people of what the government is up to. You have to let people know, and then individuals like myself, InfoWars, No More News, and all those other alt media, because we're the new media now. CNN, BBC, that's the dustbin of history. We will report on it. We will report on it. But if they start taking our freedoms away, then it's going to be a revolution here. And I'm going to be a part of that revolution. I'm going to be a part of it. So you watch and you keep your eyes vigilant and you see what's going to happen, because they are planning something here now. They are going to do something. They are losing their power, and they know they can't get power with votes. So now they're going to use their last resort abilities and use technology and assault us with biological weapons to make us go in line and conform to them. So we have to stop it. We have to be on the front lines, and no matter what they do to us, we must not capitulate. And I'm not going to capitulate. You can capitulate, I won't. So that is what I think is going to happen in the next few years from now. Stay alert. Watch the globalists. Watch the hawks. Watch the Zionists. Watch the fake environmentalists. They have a plan, and they're trying to put it in place. But we've seen this game before. So let's stand up to them and say, we're on to you. This is the Arana Nation.